Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
For the second one.
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Gordon with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
What's going on? It is Monday, November 4th, 2024. I am Jimmy here with Chris and Jay-Z. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Thanks, everybody, so much for joining us tonight. We got a great episode planned for you guys. We have Justin Whittall here tonight. Just won at Bridgeport. Has been having a pretty good season. We're going to talk about that and much more. We also will take a quick gander at the World Finals this week at Charlotte that wrap up the World of Outlaws season, and the High Limit schedule just dropped about a couple hours here before we went live. So we'll go over that real quick and whatever else you guys got. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Matt, Randy, Mandy, Santos. Thanks guys for tuning in. Dakota, Ant, what's going on?
That's two real
Steph,
crew chiefs in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, two real crew chiefs. Dakota says, hi Jimmy, Whitney series starts tomorrow. Hey, if anybody likes iRacing, we run Tuesday nights. We're starting our winter series, the iRacing Pennsylvania Posse. We'll start at Charlotte tomorrow night. So if you're looking for something to do as race season winds down here and we're cooped up inside, come join us. We do a couple different races throughout the week. We have a lot of fun.
I just want to know if Jeremy's racing that.
Oh,
how you doing, buddy?
Man.
I know you've had a rough week. How you doing?
Ah, man.
Love that for you.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's not even a week yet, man. It's been a long week, long 6 days.
Chris, why'd you have to go add insult to literal injury? Like, come on, man. You're not a good friend. Not a good friend.
He would do that shit to me if it was the other way around. That's why.
That's true.
Either goes, you go, pussy. Like, what's the rules, Jeremy? Let's go.
He's not wrong. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's been a rough week, but I've had better weeks. But hey, hopefully, pay off in the long run. But
well, before we bring Justin on here, we want to talk about something real quick. Did you know every 22 seconds a veteran loses their life to suicide? The great people at Vertical for Life are dedicated to helping prevent veteran suicide one beat at a time. We here with the Turn 2 Terribles podcast are proud partners with Vertical for Life. They accomplish this goal through education, and they assist veteran organizations to raise money through music to help our veterans gain access to life-saving resources. Coming up this Sunday, November 10th, this Sunday, November 10th, Vertical for Life is holding a Salute to Our Veterans event from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Jimmy Jack's Shine Shack in Dillsburg. This event features 3 artists performing throughout the evening. Jake Mock from 1 to 3, Matt Jameson from 3:30 to 5:30, and Cody Ross Smith from 6 to 8 p.m. Food will be available courtesy of Williams Custom Catering, and the event is open to all ages. Come on out, hear some great music. Vertical for Life will have shirts available to order as well. Follow their pages. Help prevent veteran suicide. We can all help make a difference. Go, even if it's just going to a vet and tell them thank you for their service and that you care. You never know, may help save their life. So thanks to those guys over at Vertical for Life, and definitely check them out and support them. All right, let's bring in tonight's guest, winner at Bridgeport on Saturday, Justin Whittall. Justin, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
What's up? It's just another night.
JZ, you're muted.
Son of a bitch. All right, hey man, I appreciate you being here. I know it's your second time, I think, right? We had you on early on. I think early on when we started doing guests, we had you on. So,
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So, welcome back. First of all, congratulations on the big win.
Thank you.
I looked. I didn't go back and look in details, but I saw something today, a snippet. It's been your biggest win of your career so far. Is that right?
Yep. Unless you count Labor Day.
I mean, that's a pretty big one. I like it. Okay, is this the most dollars, or is it? Are they saying biggest? Like I think Labor Day is a pretty big one. Bridgeport's a big win, but that Labor Day race is pretty cool. So, is it the most money or
most money?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Not a
my
bad
question,
rate after year.
Justin, which one meant the most?
I don't know. They're both up there. I mean, Bridgeport because it's home track. I guess home track. It's home field, I guess. And then, I mean, Labor Day. It's Port Royal. I don't know. I like them both. I don't know what to rank them.
And it's fair that they're equal. I mean, they both are going to have their own they're going to have their own reasons to be the leader, right? Each of them for these reasons. So, you've had a hell of a season, and like you've had a hell of a really last 2 seasons. Let's put it that way. And we talked to you, at some point, but the highs and the lows. You won some races now. You won multiple races, and you've also had some pretty freaking scary wrecks, man. Like you don't wreck soft. You're a guy that when you crash, you get all of it out of it. Like you earn every bump and bruise for sure. So, going through all of that and never really flinching and coming back and I think there was a race even at Port where you got in the car, didn't feel great, and said, "Hey, this isn't my night." But as you started to recover and got going, you obviously had the confidence to say, I know I can do this. I'm going to keep going. Did you ever have a point where you're like, I don't know if this is worth doing anymore? Did you ever get there?
Yeah, I've gotten there, but I just kind of waited it out, kind of got better and started racing, started having some decent finishes, mentality of it started getting better. And then we really started doing good and just kind of been the thing in the past now.
So what do you think has changed? What do you think is, again, maybe nothing. Maybe is it seat time, experience, your team, some parts? What kind of changed that kind of got the ball rolling in the direction where you're headed now?
Oh, a little bit of parts. The team's definitely clicking a little better. I guess age and laps. I mean, my crew chief's been just kind of helping me along this, yelling at me when I don't want to hear it and shit like that.
That's always an interesting. Who's your crew chief? Excuse me. I only know real crew chiefs. Okay, so no, I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke with Aunt Bay this week. But who do you got working on your team?
Brandon Lively.
Oh, okay.
But for Charlotte, it's gonna be the dude.
Oh,
that dude has a resume, unlike Aunt Bay.
No offense to Brandon Lively, because I know that name. and that's us being outsiders. Like we're there, but we're not there, right? I'm not on a team. Um, how long has he been with? How long has Brandon been with you?
Ooh. I mean, he's been helping us since URC days, and then I don't even know. It's been a couple of years. I say 4 years, 5 years, maybe 4.5
So you
years.
guys getting on the right path. So how
Yeah.
does that? How do you obviously with that kind of history, you have like when he's serious, when he's not, like just like you guys know, like when he comes to you with criticism that it's to criticism to help you get better, not criticism like he's emotionally upset and mad at you over your job. Like how do you make that kind of work that you can take that and go, yeah, you're right, or you're like F you, right? Because it can create that problem. Like how do you manage that?
I don't know. He's hard to read, so sometimes I don't know if he's busting my balls or he's being serious. Sometimes I shoot back and then I'm like, oh, he was being serious, and then other times I'm like, he's just messing around with me. I'm trying to just keep me straight and keep me in line, I guess.
Okay. So are there times where he'll say something and you already know that it was an issue, or has he ever caught you and said something and you're like, oh shit, you're right? Have you had either of those moments?
Yes. National Open this year, just how I was driving the car in time trials. I did it earlier in the year with the Outlaws, and he said, told me what are you doing? And I didn't want to hear it from him, so I kind of just brushed it off and got a little pissy.
And then what? Did you
I
come
wrecked,
around and be like, yeah, you're right?
yeah, a little bit. Then I wrecked in the heat race, and then I was really pissy.
That'll do that. Okay,
I,
so
I before you go, I just want to love the fact that Justin's telling this whole story while smiling. If that shit grin, like the same one you see in Victory Lane, just always happy. That's amazing.
Sometimes.
So let's talk about Bridgeport a little bit. Jimmy was there. I bought it. Was watching. Now I'll be very fair as we talk about this race. I didn't watch the B and I didn't watch the dash. I came down and watched the feature and saw what I saw. Kind of walk us through your night a little bit. Like how did that go? And I didn't watch. There was a dash, right? Am I
Yeah,
Yes,
have that
there
right?
was.
So tell me about kind of how the night went and what your thoughts were leading up to the green flag of the A main.
I did not know Friday. You built points up from the timed hot laps, so I knew there was the or time trials. You had time very good, and then heat races. It was kind of based off. I think Danny said the Weichert. I think it was point system, maybe a little different.
Points, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was
so
passing points. Yeah.
yeah, so I knew I had to pass some cars and do some things to try to be all right. I didn't know I was going to be second highest, just 1 point short of Briggs Danner. So, I mean, honestly, I was just going into the night trying to see what I could salvage, getting back to my own car, just getting a good feel for it. But because we haven't ran that car since
Williams.
I got back from that crash.
Right.
That car I had stacked up on top of the trailer. I had that crash in the beginning season at Port.
Mm. Okay, so you get into the passing points. At that point, after the heat, you get into the dash. Did you draw the pole for the dash, or did you pass cars in there?
I drew the pole for the dash.
Okay, how'd the car feel in the dash?
We changed some things from the heat race and definitely softened up the rear and changed the wing, and it definitely got the car handling a little better. I knew we had a rocket ship. I knew like after our previous experiences with the track, I knew they always do track work, so I didn't know if we were going to change it or leave it. We just left it, and kind of worked out in our favor. Kind of allowed us to be a rocket ship in the beginning. Kind of try to hide away from everybody.
Jimmy, you want to go over the feature there, kind of that start? I know you were there, kind of saw everything.
Yeah, so there was a big pileup, and I know you were there's not without controversy, and starts there at Bridgeport are tough. I mean, we've seen a lot of wrecks there on starts there. One, why do you think that is? And two, take us through what you saw on that start, that maybe led to there was a pretty big pileup behind you.
Well, they there's always crashes on starts there. I feel like the straightaway gets the turns are real wide, and then the straightaway gets real narrow, and everybody's trying to get what they can get from on the start. And then on that start, the track was still a little slimy, so I think they should have let us buzz the track a little bit longer and let us try to work it before we went green. But I don't know who was in control of letting us. They didn't say give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. They just said line up on the 67, and we went green. The green dropped. I knew Ryan was there, but I kind of went down the hill and I didn't see him, and so I kind of came up and I right rear to left front. I touched him, and it kind of caused a whole melee. I don't know if me touching Ryan and everybody getting checked up caused it, or
to me, that's what it looked like. It looked like Ryan kind of went up the hill then a little bit, and guys behind didn't really know. And the first car that I saw get really, really sideways was Briggs Danner, and he was like 5th or whatever, and it was just a chain reaction from there on back. Nobody had anywhere to go because he was right in the middle of the track. That's what I saw, at least.
Yeah, like I just think the turns are real wide and the straightaways get real narrow. I mean, they're still decently wide, but I think they get real narrow. Like you can look at the Justin Peck incident last year or 2 years ago. I started 4th behind Anthony, and he came up the track, or 6th, and he came up the track and took out my nose and destroyed my front wing. And I feel like there's always been wrecks on the starts there, or it's been real sketchy.
Yeah, it almost looks like, watching the way the races play out there. Sorry, Jimmy, but you're talking about how narrow. Like it's wide, but the straightaways seem narrow, the corners seem wide, but they're really wide at the apex.
Yes.
But it kind of funnels you down into a narrow entry point where you guys kind of got to like really pay attention on entry, and then you can kind of do a bunch of things. I think that's okay, but it does create some of these either right off the corner, straight away down in the corner issues with guys just being that close, and then the speed you're carrying on top of that, even on a start. You come down the hill off of 4, you're already carrying a lot of speed by the start finish line. And watching back through the night in the heats, Freddie and who was that? Moran.
Chase Moran.
It was very similar. It was very similar at the same spot where the right rear to left front just ran out of room, right? And I don't think it was anything intentional. Yours was eerily similar, like at the place it was, and just sort of the way the room kind of worked out as you got down the straightaway. I don't think they were the same, but it was similar that way, right? In the fact that it kind of looked narrow when it doesn't seem narrow, but it is.
Yeah.
Straightaways, and you want to get in the corner the best way you can, so it makes some sense. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it gets real narrow. Like the Freddie incident, he jumped the start, and then he was behind me, and then Freddie being Freddie, trying to race everybody like he's king shit, and just kind of used up the 4 to get him out of his way, and it wrecked the 4, which is kind of shitty.
It is.
Yeah.
And that was it. I've been watching, following his journey a little bit through the last few weeks about getting ready for this, and it meant a lot to him for sure. And it sucks that he didn't get a chance to be out there longer. Never want to see cars torn up for sure. But yes, it's Freddie's track. I mean, you know better. Like it's not yours. It's his racetrack. Anyway, so you get going in this feature, and one of the things when you got out after this race, I was listening to your interview, and you said something about either you were tired, you were worn out, or something to that effect. Did I hear that right, or what did you say when you got out?
I was kind of death gripping the wheel, and it really got me arm pump during the race. And then getting into lap cars, really trying to work the car and just trying to maneuver the car around and try to get around lap traffic. Because I always thought that Kyle and Danny were always up my ass the whole race. So I just was death gripping and trying to keep going forward and straight. And yeah.
You fell out of the seat, man. Come on, you're a young guy and you're in shape.
A little bit.
We need late model sticks for sprint cars, so you knew how much of a lead you had. That's what we need. I did not know
I had that big of a lead. And then the dust, I couldn't really see. Like I was pulling tear offs off for dust. It got like the last 10 laps, it was pretty dusty for me.
What's interesting watching that is the momentum. You were ripping and going, and you didn't know, obviously, like you just said, you didn't know how much of a lead you had. But I would see you run up on a car, and they would, pick the wrong line, or you would get your momentum killed. And like visibly on the camera, I was like waiting for the car in second, and I really didn't know at times how far they were back. But I'm just waiting for a car to show up in the frame because it looked like you went from 300 miles an hour to 20. Like it just kills your momentum. I can only imagine in your seat thinking they're on your tail and you're ripping and all of a sudden you're parked and you're just thinking, well, there goes the win. It
Yeah,
felt like every other lap.
I struggle with lap traffic a little bit. I need to get better with it, but I feel like towards the end of the year, I've been getting better with it, and just need to work on it, be patient more.
Well, the good news is you had a monster lead, so you had a really good race car. And I think those guys behind had really good race cars, but you were gone. You were that far out that it didn't actually end up mattering to lose that momentum, which is crazy that you held a lead you did with losing that momentum at times where they were battling and none of them really got checked up for a while. They were battling hard, but they didn't really get crossed up and checked up fighting each other as much as I thought you were getting crossed up against lap cars. So
Yeah.
that's how good your car was. Did you like, I know you said you thought they were on your tail tank the whole time, but did you also feel like the car was pretty good?
Yeah, I knew the car was pretty good. I knew I knew like at one point I knew I kind of blistered my tires a little bit. I knew Kyle really blistered his tires, he said. And then I knew my car was good. I just didn't know how good it was while I was in lap traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Christian.
your car was 7 seconds better because that's your gap at the line. So you did a fantastic job through lap traffic. I got to give you a hand, and it was like one of those demoralizing leads where it was like guys are pulling off after they see you get by kind of deal. Like it's just kind of like, well, just kind of just dominating. So, and there was a dogfight behind you. So so you, like you said, it was a little bit slimy, you said at the beginning of it, but how overall did you think the track was on Saturday? Because I thought it for the conditions and everything and the amount of cars and everything, it turned out pretty well. I thought the track was really racy. We saw a lot of slide jobs. What do you think of the track on Saturday?
I didn't think it was bad. I think it really kills it when you're about to roll out for the feature and Doug just dumps a bunch of water on the track, and then you got to change everything. Well, not change everything, but you got to change for the beginning of the race because the tracks kind of have some moisture in it, and then later in the race it gets dusty, dry, and slick.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting that track from just one feature filled with full cars goes from slimy and wet to at lap one to you're like dust and can't see anything by the end of it. Like, does that just say there's not a lot of moisture very deep in the racetrack that was all on top, and once that wears off, like I don't know shit about dirt. Maybe you don't either, and you don't have to be the ecologist here. What's that word? Maybe that's the right word. But you don't see that very often, right? Where a track's heavy and slimy for a little bit, and all of a sudden it's dust by the end of that one event.
No, I don't think you really see that. I mean, no, I don't think you see that much.
Yeah, I think it's just that track and just some of the geologist. What did I say? I said it right?
Ecologist. You said ecologist.
Oh yeah, geologist. That's the one. I'm not real smart.
Same.
Chris, what do you got for him?
Oh, I want to go back, and it kind of leads into a second question. So, Justin, you talked about you struggle with lap traffic, but we just watched you at BAPS 2 weeks ago in a 23 car.
Ooh,
Hit
yeah.
a hard charger from the back of the field to fifth. So my first question is, what have you learned? Obviously, it's a new team for you. Have you taken things from that team that helps you with your own program? And I guess the follow up would be, what is that?
The last week at BAPS when I went to 18th to 5th, we weren't that very good in the heat race. I kind of just salvaged what I could, and we changed rear bars in that, and I believe we changed the top wing as well, and we learned that and changed shocks on all four corners, and it car basically came to life, and we were just second guessing ourselves after a heat race at Bridgeport, and then my crew chief thought back to what we did at BAPS, and he was, "Fuck, we're just gonna roll with it," and changed the rear bars, softened them up a little bit, and changed the wing to our Port Royal wing, which is the right sideboards just dropped down a little bit, and it really helped.
So from like a driver standpoint, anything changed other than just you trusted the team between the two teams now at this point? Like from a driver standpoint, what changed? Or just worked and you're like, hey, shit, it worked. Might as well do it again.
Yeah, it worked. I guess we just said it worked, and we just tried it, and it worked for us. Because I was just complaining of no drive, so my crew chief said, "We get softer bars, and you're just gonna suck it up."
And that's a perfect segue. My other question was, obviously you were here early last year, and you've been through some stuff since then, and obviously you've grown as a driver because of it, right? So like, how have you grown as a driver through the crashes at Williams Grove and the Port Royals and the things like that to where you're at now? Like clearly you've grown, you matured, you've done something in that car with yourself that's not just a team. So what is that, and what do you attribute that to?
I guess just really getting laps and getting comfortable with the car. We changed some things. At the beginning of the season, I ran Glenn Steyer's number 0 with Daniel Lasowski as the crew chief, and he mentioned to my crew chief that I need to put a right rear brake on because he thinks it would really suit me. So at the beginning of the season, we added a right rear brake, and it's really been helping my driving style, really kind of let me do what I want with the car, getting into the corner and getting down the straightaways.
That's wild. And my last thing is, how hard was it coming back from some of those crashes? Like we saw you, we were all there at Port Royal this year, the Williams Grove, you almost got a tree down. Like let's call it what it is. How hard was that as a driver to come back and still be as fast as you are?
I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle coming back. I mean, you got to get past the point of, shit, I just crashed a couple weeks ago. I need to, suck it up and race again because this is what I do. And, I mean, it took me a little bit, but it got to look at it as another day, another race, and keep going.
It's just the racing, because you come through the medical side of it, like the concussions and whatever else happens when you're flipping up mock Jesus, but like just the psychology part of it, like just like shit, I'm so fast. You've gotten faster since then, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, after my crash at Port Royal, that's how I got my new girlfriend.
I mean, buddy, we were sitting there and we watched you leave on a gurney, and you got a new girlfriend out of it. Shit.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I need to try that.
Chris, don't get any ideas.
I'm getting an idea. I need to go out and damn, Justin.
Yeah, she was my CT nurse.
Wait, what?
He just cold trickled this thing. That
is awesome.
He may or may not remember this, but a couple months ago, standing in the infield at Williams Grove during a missed rain delay, this story came up, and I said, well, yeah, she saw you there's so many goddamn times this year that, like, she fell in love. You got frequent flyer balls at the hospital.
51st Statesman. Damn. Shit.
That's
I was like, there's no way this happened. This is great.
That might be the story of the year.
That is.
Another side note to this weekend was you had some of the 23 crew helping you out this weekend. And I thought that was super cool. So obviously you've been into 23 a little bit, you back into 67. How did that kind of come about to have them with you this weekend?
The original plan was for me to run their car at Bridgeport, but since they got new frames not too long ago, when I started driving for them, so they only had one frame. They had frames, but they were swapping them out. So they said that I should run my car this weekend, and they'll get cars ready for Charlotte. So, and then Friday night, half of my crew couldn't make it, so they came up and helped out for Friday night.
Nice. Okay, so they're going to be going to Charlotte. You're going to be doing your thing in Charlotte, right? Are you going to be in the 0? So I heard Lasowski, the 0. Is that what you're doing for Charlotte?
No, Charlotte will be in the Stamen 23.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Fair enough. Maybe we did see that and I forgot. That's right. So, damn, you're leaving soon then. When do you leave?
Tomorrow morning.
So we talked about getting a hold of you, and somebody goes, "Well, he may not be available because he's got to leave tomorrow, Tuesday morning." And I
That
said,
somebody
"Nah,
is named Brett
Justin's a real
Perigo,
one."
just so we
Oh,
know.
Brett Perigo, yeah,
Just
this
Yeah.
guy.
put him on the stake. That
He's
idiot.
not the travel logistics coordinator, thankfully for the 23 or Justin. So, anyway,
Idiot.
so you go through the year. We talked about a couple of the wins and kind of where they rank up. And um, have you thought about 2025 yet, or are you still living in 2024 and what's going on week to week?
No, haven't really thought about 2025 yet. I mean, after Charlotte, we'll see. My dad and I will sit down, discuss what we want to do, ask the crew guys what they want to do. I mean, I'd like to go out to Ohio and experience Ohio and shit like that. I mean, I would like to make a trip out to Knoxville, and maybe some other places. But I mean, we're getting good around here. I mean, I want to start trying to travel a little bit more and see what we can do.
Before we came on here, you mentioned maybe another trip before the end of the year or through the winter. Is that anything you want to get into today?
It's still in the works.
Okay. There may be more news coming from the Justin Whittall camp about his vacation plans for the winter. So,
Aunt Bay's wanting something here because, I mean, never mind. It's not worth talking about. I do have a fan question, unless we're not doing that yet.
No, go ahead.
I did have one off the record that wanted to know if Gunnar was excited for your win on Saturday.
Probably. I mean, he doesn't know what the hell's
Does
going
he just
on.
get excited when he sees you, or does he care if you win or finish 28th?
He don't care. He don't really care.
So
He
if
doesn't
you
know
don't
what's
have-
going on. My mom was
if you
giving him
don't-
treats the whole time, so he was happier than a clown shit.
You just buy them. Perfect. You just win his love with treats. Perfect.
Exactly.
If you don't have plans over the winter, though, I see that iRacing rig over your shoulder. If you want to jump into our iRacing league with us, we got some NASCAR
Okay.
stuff, we got some dirt stuff. We've seen you on the sim now and then. How often do you get to do it? I assume not much during the season.
I haven't turned it on in a couple months. I mean, I used to play a lot, but I haven't played in a little bit.
The sprint cars aren't bad right now. They're not bad. They're better than they were when you got on it last. I can promise you that. They're
You
not
wanna
bad right now.
Show your leg again and see that it's been a few weeks since you know what you're talking about.
It's not even a week yet since I've
It's
been.
not, I was gonna say.
Old news, fella.
It's sitting over there. It's sitting over there. Still there.
Do something
It'll
about
be
it.
there. It'll be there when I get back. It'll be there. So I got the other thing I was going to get into here was rumor season. Is in full gear. And listen, you don't have to confirm or deny anything. But I got an interesting message earlier today about a central PA car, a central PA driver that may open up a seat of another central PA car. And listen, you don't have plans for 2025 yet. Maybe you end up, and who knows what happens. Your phone's ringing off the hook lately, so who knows what car we see Justin in next year at any certain track on a Saturday night. So who knows? We'll let the rumors go from there. But anyway, the next thing that I have, and it's early. I know you haven't talked about it yet, but what are your thoughts on your scheme for 2025? Because I think it's one of the cleanest, nicest schemes out there, and there's no reason to change it. But it's been a minute. It's been a couple years. Is it due for a change?
We changed it this year.
Yeah. It used to be black and red, right? Before that.
It was
No,
the same
we just flip flop colors.
Yeah.
It was still white and black, but we flip flopped the white and black. So it's a little different. Kind of looks the same, but it's different.
You're right, and I know that.
Same, but different.
Yes.
Same, but different. I mean,
But
your merch game in 2025, I believe, is due for a big upgrade based on your winning this year. You can't sell merch with the same merch.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, our
Right?
one T-shirt's been selling pretty good.
Jimmy, what do you got?
What's your expectations for going into Charlotte this week? I mean, new car. You're working with Danny. What are you looking for? Just to go get laps, to go have fun? You have any expectations going in there? What are you looking for there?
I mean, I like to have fun, learn some. Try not to piss off Danny. But I would really like to make a feature. and see what we can do. I mean, Danny, he already told me he wants to win. So does John Stamen. They want to win. So
Oh yeah.
I'd like to try to do that, but my goal is to make a feature.
Yeah. And it's your first time there, right? Like you've never been.
Unless iRacing counts.
Yeah. I just as a comment from Aunt Bay too. I was kind of it was all rigged. This is going back to Bridgeport here. It was all rigged. He had prime parking spot behind the stands. It started on the pole. It was rigged. Kidding, if for anybody that's sensitive. How did you get that prime parking spot, Danny? When usually at Bridgeport when he goes there, he has that. He's tucked over in turn 4, away from everybody else, and then I pull up and I see you there too. Like, what's up with that?
Kids aren't allowed in the pits at Bridgeport, and my crew chief had his kid with him.
Oh, okay.
So, we asked Danny and Doug Rose if we could park over there, and they said yes. So my crew chief's kid was in the stands, not too far away from the, I guess his dad.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense now. See, it's not rigged. It's not. That's awesome. That's cool that we're able to make that that compromise for you. Got a question from Michael Copen. Question for Justin: how much mental and physical preparation do you prepare your body and mindset for a tough racing schedule every year?
I don't do much preparation.
You just go out and let it rip?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The one that's in here, Jimmy, real quick, I'm going to do Brad's fairly recent. It says, congrats, but he does have a question. And I like his question here. Out of any of the tracks in Central PA, which ones would you say need safety improvements and whatnot? Because, listen, you've tested all the safety equipment at all these tracks. So you, more than anybody else lately, have firsthand knowledge of what. So, what are your thoughts on that in Central PA? Again, whether you want to get specific or not, generalities about our area compared to some others, and you haven't traveled a ton, but I know you're a fan of the sport and you watch. What are your thoughts with the safety stuff?
I mean, there's always room for improvement for our tracks. I mean, there's some tracks around here that are lacking in some areas, and some tracks that are high, like have really improved themselves, like Port Royal and I mean Lincoln's improving. Like Williams Grove definitely could use some improvements, but I mean, it's all about time and money, and if they want to spend the money to improve the track.
But they painted the walls nice and white for the National Open.
That's their call.
They painted over the clay that was in the wall. That's safe. That's safe. That's anyway. Okay, so you mentioned Lincoln, and I was a month or so ago. You came down to Lincoln, and I stopped by the trail, and I said, "Did y'all get lost? Did the nav take you in the wrong direction? Like, did y'all know how to get here?" You haven't been there a lot, but you had a hell of a run. I don't think it was that night. Maybe it was just the more recent one. You had a really good run at Lincoln. Had a really good night. Do you like that place?
It's a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I like it there, and it hates me, and it just hates me, and I hate the track sometimes. It just depends on the mood off the pill draw and stuff like that.
Yeah, the pill draw can definitely start the night in the wrong direction for sure. What has been when you switched, the 67, you went to the 23 and you kind of jumped in there. How much adjustment did it take for you to kind of get comfortable in that car? Was it a communication thing or like, hey, this is what I was doing over here. Can we start there? Like, how did that kind of form?
Well, they started when Devin had that crash at Port Royal. I think it was during the 50, that nasty one in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
They got they ordered a couple brand new Maxims, and they didn't get here until I started driving for them. And at that time, I started at Lincoln. I was in a Triple X, and they started selling off their Triple X's and stuff like that. And they got new Maxims. And I was comfortable in my Maxim, so I told them what I liked, and they how I was comfortable in my car. So they bought some parts to get me comfortable, similar to what I was in my car. I mean, we had to work on the car a little bit, get some ride heights and scaling situated to what we would find acceptable for us. So it took a little bit, but we just had to work on it. I mean, it's different team, different cars, how people do things. So, I mean, it's just how you go about things and setting it up and getting it ready.
Yeah, I imagine that's difficult for all parties, right? What you
Yeah.
like, what they've been doing versus what you like, and then laps to get comfortable in something, even though let's say they give you almost everything the same, and there's always something different, and it's not like you want to go over there and struggle. You want to fill in the best you can and get results for the team, and they've given you that opportunity, so you want to do that. So how much stress do you put on yourself in that situation, or is it kind of it is what it is and you do the best you can?
I mean, I stress myself on my own car, just trying to get results. I mean, now I'm in somebody else's car, getting notes for somebody that they've been struggling this year, and trying to get notes for them because it's a brand new car and stuff like that. And just trying to get notes for them is a little bit of a struggle because Devin's driving styles versus my driving styles a little different. I'd say I'm a little bit more patient, where Devin's more a little bit hammer down and go bang the boards, where I can kind of simply roll the bottom and kind of scoot along that way. So, I mean, our notes for them should be good enough to get a baseline for them. So, I mean, I put some pressure on myself to give them good notes and perform well, so they have something to rely on, not just something that's like, I mean, this kind of worked, and let's try it and see if it works for Devin. I want them to have good notes for next year, because I mean, Devin's a good racer. I mean, he's competitive. He just, them not having a crew chief this year is kind of killing him.
Yeah, they're playing from behind a little bit, when they get there. So, and that's pretty cool that you're able to, and you've had some success, right? In that 23, you've had some good runs in it to give them hopefully good notes to give them a baseline. But I'm going to disagree with you a little. You don't just roll the bottom. I have video of you knocking the fence down at Port.
I have done that.
I've seen that. I had that video. I got that video, and I think I sent that to you that time. So
You
anyway.
did. I mean, most of my good runs have been around the bottom, like at Port Royal. They have been around the bottom, like the Tuscarora 50, Outlaws. I think this year's 52. I've been fairly decent on the bottom. Well, this year's 50 was rubbered up, dumbass.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps when it's rubbered up.
Yeah, it does help.
That's the best one. You better have been down there. All right, we're gonna get you out of here, man. It's been just shy of an hour already, 45 minutes
it's
or so.
all right.
So really appreciate your time. You got some traveling. You get to go sit in a truck for the next, all day tomorrow. But or a car or whatever. Are you flying or are you driving?
I'm driving myself.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
It's 7 hours. It'll be all right.
Terrible drive down 81. But we had you on long enough ago that the answers may have changed, and we're going to go over it and we're going to do it again. We rarely do it a second time with people, but we're doing it again because it's been so long, and you've had a lot of racing this year. How many races did you do this year?
I don't even know.
You say it's over 50?
I guess around 50 something maybe.
That's true. We did miss a few in the hospital. All right, so 2 drivers. Okay, if you remember this, one driver you love racing around this season.
I remember who they were.
Had a great time.
Who were they? I want to know that, because I don't remember.
I don't remember.
One driver I like racing around is Danny Dietrich. The other one was Devin Borden. I don't remember.
Irony.
I don't.
I'm curious. I know who I would vote if I was you, so I want to hear your answer to.
Same question today with this year.
Driver I don't like racing around is Freddie.
Okay.
I was going to bet TJ Stutz, but
TJ and I.
He did send you into a tree, so there's that.
TJ and I have had our run-ins, but we kind of worked them out, and we kind of raced each other fairly clean this year. So I mean, we're all right.
He's against King Shit Freddie, as Aunt Bay would say.
True, and that was foreshadowing there. And then someone you've had a lot of fun with this year, racing with.
Probably TJ.
Really?
There you go.
Nice. Okay. Chris.
So I'll go back. Justin, if you had to pick one race you wanted to win more than anything, what would it be and why?
Weicker, I want the damn bullhead.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Damn bullhead.
What do you think about that race going to 3 days this year? Or next year, I should say.
3 days?
Yeah, it's a 3-day show now.
just ruined his life. He didn't know he had to be like 3 days. You shitting me?
I mean, it's 3 days of racing. See what we can do.
I did want to read one comment. We got it from here when we posted this morning that you're coming on, from our buddy Matt Condors from Australia. He said, "Hey Justin, you have to come down under sometime. We got this little race every year called the Classic. Is that something you'd be interested in doing?"
I love watching
Yeah.
that race. That's a great event.
I'd be interested in going down there to race. I after I heard High Limit was doing a couple races down there, I asked a couple people, and it's in the works right now, but we'll see.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude. Let's go. That'd be hype.
Well, good luck with that. We you know, do you plan on racing BAPS after Charlotte?
Yes, in the
All right,
Stain
cool.
23.
Awesome. Cool.
Very cool.
Good. So, well, good luck at Charlotte. Good luck at BAPS, and if you go down to Australia, obviously, and then, yeah, hopefully we'll be bringing you on here at some point again with another win. Thank you so much for
Hopefully.
joining us.
Thank
If you want to give some shout outs to any sponsors, people that help you.
Oh, yeah. So shout out my dad.
Wait, I do
just
remember
Dave-
this.
you just Dave
prepared
Harem.
you were not prepared the last time, if I remember correctly.
No.
No.
And Dave Harris did the same thing to him at BAPS with the hard charger. And he goes, "Oh, it's a new car. I'm sorry." Damn it.
Yeah, I suck at doing that part.
You better start practicing that shit up because you're starting to win some races, my friend. You better get that under control. You better prep. If you don't prep for anything else, prep for this part.
I probably should.
All right.
Real quick before we let you go, Brett Shue says here, as we're just talking about Weichert, that damn bullhead. I sent some Weichert merch for 25. Maybe a little merch idea there from Brent. There you go.
Maybe.
Gotta win the bullhead first, fellas.
I want to win that damn bullhead. Hey, appreciate you being here, man. Good luck this weekend. Hopefully we get to hear the sponsor shout outs on TV. I'm here for it. Or next weekend. I'll be buying that one too and watching that one from home here. So good luck, man. Have a great winter.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Safe travels.
Thank you. Have a good time.
Thanks, Justin. Awesome. He's fun to talk to. He had great race on Saturday. He's had a really good season this year. You know, despite all the you know, I guess I didn't know that he met his new girlfriend in the hospital. That's pretty wild.
She was the nurse.
That's
the most.
Like those bad crashes that he's been in have not been his fault. I don't think any of them. He was just a victim of somebody else did something, and he was just the poor sap that was on the bad end of it. In this case, he should thank whoever that was that flipped him at Port Royal, but still, wild.
So, looking at Bridgeport here, let's just go over it real quick. We obviously talked most of it about it with Justin here, but we'll go over some other stuff. Justin gets the win over Kyle Reinhardt, Danny Dietrich, and Dason Pursley, who were in an absolute dogfight. Especially Pursley and Dietrich, man, they were sliding each other back and forth. Macri went from the B main, I believe, to fifth. Mike Walter in the number 7 gets 7th. Sixth. Freddie gets 7th. Jordan Poirier 8th. Aaron Bollinger and Tyler Ross round out your top 10. They had 33 cars. The stands were packed. Like, we went to this race last year. We did the pre-race show. That was our first time to our, trying to do something on site. And it was a very good crowd last year. It was like 80 degrees last year. It wasn't quite as warm, but it was still very nice out. And I think this crowd it might have doubled from what it was last year. It was very well attended. I was very happy to see that. The only thing I didn't like was the damn near half hour, 45 minutes it took to get out of the parking lot. That's how many people were there. But that's a sign that it was a good event for them and that track. And you saw good racing. I thought the track held up pretty nice. You saw a lot of sliders. Yeah, there were some wrecks. As we were talking about, those starts there are always so tough. It gets real narrow for those guys, and you start seeing a lot of stuff in turn 1. But I thought the entire day of racing was fantastic. and just good racing all around. What'd you guys see from home?
Agreed.
That's it. That was it. Hell of a drop in there, my friend. They don't call you a pro for nothing.
I mean, he was spot on. Like, I watched. It was a good race. I mean, it was a good race, especially
All
that
right.
battle for second. It was like I don't know. Like, I watched through your stream for one, and I only watched the feature.
No, you didn't. You watched it. You bought it yourself, Chris.
Bought it and you watched it, dummy.
You
Listen,
don't even remember.
here's
It's
yeah,
true. I was
fell
busy.
asleep under a tent. Here's what I got from this. My biggest takeaway from this is Danny and what promotion can do.
Yes.
Right? Like, let's just go back and look at why the crowd was there. It's the same event, same weekend. It's a Penn State, Ohio State weekend.
Yeah.
And this crowd was there, and that's partially because promotion still matters in the sport. And I don't expect every race of the freaking 200 we have in Central PA to be promoted that way. But if every race is special, again, no race is special. We need to make sure and have this separation of it. And our big special races are special. But this race has happened multiple years in a row and didn't have this crowd.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying anyone did it wrong before, but this is the effort and energy that was put in to not only get the drivers, but get the fans, extra win money, right? Like it was all this effort and energy put in to get to that point. And the team, or maybe it was just him, I don't know, but it worked and paid off hopefully for Bridgeport, and it paid off for the fans, paid off for the drivers. That was my biggest takeaway from this. Aside from the racing side, was that it was crowded and it should have been, and that track deserves to have that show and put on that show, right? I think, do they do everything right all the time and whatever? But if you want to get 410s and have an impact in that area, this is the kind of stuff that needs to get done, that needs to happen, have more eyeballs on it. And those people that sat in those stands, if it was their first time, they're going back. Because I
Yes.
know when I went for the first time, I hate driving there, but I go back because what I get to see when I get there. It's badass. That place is cool.
Yeah.
So that was my main takeaway. Not that Chris, I'm just messing with you, but like that was my biggest thing aside from just the racing, right? And we picked some of our favorites before the race, and I said 67 and 91. I know
Mhm.
the 91's good there. He's good there every year we go back.
Yep.
67 from the front because we're rooting for our guy Justin, right? Not to take away from anyone else, but damn, I'll take that top two. They were mine too, 67 and 91. And then when Mike Walter got to start up inside the top five, I'm like, okay, Mikey's our guy too. We like Mike.
Yeah.
Take Mike, right?
Shout out
So
to
I
Mike
got
Walton,
I
finished
made
seventh, right?
I took advantage of that little bit of a start. He got a little closer to the front, and that move and he made in the heat was pretty cool, right? I didn't get to see that one. I missed that somehow, but he drove around the top, took the lead in that heat race. That was pretty badass. So good run for him. I think he held on to that top 5 or 6. I think Macri got him at the end, but no, this was a very cool event. Yeah, shout out Pat Brewer, Home Improvement. And Brewer Home Improvement for stepping up as a primary sponsor of that thing. Bet's Garage. There was a lot of people that are already involved in the sport that supported this race. And that's pretty cool to see because they don't have to throw up any more money, right? Pat Brewer does a ton for Cody and the sport and already puts a lot of his money toward this. And Bet's Garage is a sponsor of multiple cars. They didn't have to do this, but they wanted to support it as well. And their support went a long way to the drivers, and the fans came out and put their support in it. So hopefully all parties made out well, and we can see this continue because this was on its deathbed, right? It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't going to happen at all. And it's the only 410 race in New Jersey. And I think it's, as it turns out, we know.
Well,
today,
there was
going
another
through
one
it,
scheduled, but yeah.
whatever. But it's a precursor. Like, we saw a good race. We saw a full event, a true event, because it's the only race there, and all the effort was there, right? And the precursor is you have High Limit coming here next year now.
Yes.
So now a little momentum here, a little bit of effort for these tracks that they want more, and they want to not cry, but like Port Royal, Lincoln, Waynes Grove, they own it. BAPS went and took their share to earn their stake in the 410 claim. The Sealands Groves of the world, the Path Valleys. Take the Bridgeport plan. Take your one race and make it an event that everyone wants to be at, and you're going to get more. In my opinion, Clinton County does it with their 2 races. The one's a precursor for the damn Phil Walter Classic, and they packed that bitch out. Like
I think you got to find a good balance though. It's a far
Right.
way for people to go. So
Bridgeport
to
has
try
all
to
the
do it
odds, right?
5 times a year, it's not going to work like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think 2 or 3 a year is probably the max, and you got to find those weekends that the other tracks don't have something going on, because you're not going to pull
You're
way
not
this
right.
can happen. You're not going to pull guys away from Lincoln and Port running weekly. It's just not going to happen. So you do got to find your spots, and I think this is a perfect spot. This is turning into a yearly thing. I'll be there every year that this happens if they keep this going, because it's such a great event.
Right, and I agreed, and it's perfect for them. And I don't think this works. They have 10 races or 5 races. It's 1 to 3 might be their limit, and it has to be well placed. But for this to go well, it has, and I think other tracks need to look at this when they're trying to get 410 dates and things like that. This is the kind of the outline, the blueprint, if you will, to make a good event.
Yep. On the racetrack, I got my biggest takeaway from all this. Whittle was great. Kyle Reinhardt, we know that. All this other stuff. For me, goddamn, is Dayson Pursley going to be an absolute fucking menace in high limit next year? This dude rips. He was so much fun to watch, and I was so impressed with how good he was in that 13 car. His first weekend in it, and man, he was good. He could have won this race, if things go a little bit differently. Like he was that fast. He was, he definitely learned some stuff by racing around, Danny and Kyle there. But man, is he good? Like he's just somebody that jumped out to me all night long. That is, man, is he going to be good?
Yeah, listen, and we've talked about it. I don't think we went back and actually, we made a post about it and jokingly, but like we had him on here for an interview after Eastern Storm.
Mhm.
And like we're fans getting to know the kid. And if you all want to go back and you're new to the show and haven't like seen us, you can go back on Facebook here or on Spotify, Apple or iTunes or whatever podcasts, whatever that's called these days. I guess I'm old. It's Apple.
It's
whatever.
just Apple, yeah.
Apple Podcasts, right?
Yeah.
You can go back and listen to our interview with Dason, and we were like, "Hey, Central PA, wake up! This is a guy who wants to get into wing more. Figure out how to get him in your car because he's a talent on the rise." And I think everybody knew that nationally. Thrilled for him to get the opportunity here. Can't wait to see him grow and go. And he's just impressive every time he gets in a race car, in a wing car, and he's shown it out across the Midwest this year, late in the year. In multiple cars, I think, right? Or maybe it was just that one. But man, what a talent! We are better in the sprint car winged world for having Dayson Pursley in it. But it's more of those non-wing guys coming over the wing world to make some money and pursue this end of the career. So excited for his progress, and yeah, he's a wheelman for sure. Side note: Justin Whittall is at 49 races. We were right on that 50 mark.
Oh wow, there you go.
49 races, and check this out. I was going back through here looking at some finishes, and I'm looking kind of from middle of June on. Here's the finishes in a row, right? 1, 4, 3, 8, 5. There's a 20, a 4, 5, 4, 21, 19, 8, 2, 2, 8, 6, 10, 2, 5, 8, 4, 1. Like just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. And these top 10 started to accumulate. And I want to say, where is the number here? 28 top 10s, 49 races, 3 wins.
He's
17
definitely
top 10s.
he's definitely found, last year, because it's something we talked about last year with him, where it's just like, man, he's winning some races, but then, he's had some rough wrecks. He's found so much more consistency this year.
Yep.
And it was kind of, I love the insight from him, running the right side brake, like that's something that he learned. And now, but like it could just be something like that these guys can learn, that really change. It's like an epiphany and could really just help their driving. It's and just getting laps and everything too. It's just it's been awesome to see his consistency on the rise and really becoming a threat every week.
Yeah, no doubt.
Want to also give a shout out, Kyle Spence. I know he had a P18 here, but he was up in the top 10. He was like 5th or 6th at one point in this feature. And then Ryan Timms had a tire blow up right in front of, while Kyle was right behind him, and I guess that may have broke something on Kyle's car later on in the race. Shout out to MVP tire guy for Kyle Spence, Jim Tenorelli. And want to give a shout out to him and got to hang out with him during the race and his wife and a bunch of friends and everything, and we had a great time. And shout out to Jim Gallagher. I felt bad for him. He's a modified driver there at Bridgeport, and he just had a new motor and went out for hot laps, and it blew up first time out. So that sucked, but we were able to use his. He was gracious enough to let us hang out in his box for the race, and that was pretty cool for us to all hang out there. So shout out to him. Shout out, Council of Gyms, man. There's too many gyms in that box. You had me, you had Tenerelli, you had his dad, and then you had the other gym. So it was just too many gyms.
Sounds like a problem. And I do love this hashtag. Might be our hashtag for the wintertime. Brent Shue puts in there the hashtag real crew chiefs. Ant Bay is our real crew chief.
Yes,
we don't care what
VP
the
Ant Bay.
Yeah, not Dakota.
Not Dakota. He's not a real crew chief.
Ant Bay even says Jim Tenerelli is a talent on the rise too. You see, I mean,
I don't even need to see Ant Bay's resume. Hi, Ant. That's all I need, him to say hi.
But I did want to. Kyle looked really good. He led 17 of the 20 laps of the non-qualifier on Friday until he got passed by Briggs Danner at the end. So he could not the non-winners race. I'm sorry, not non-qualifier. So he looked really good all weekend long. Didn't time the best in time trials. He was about mid-pack, but he was able to. That's one other thing before we move on from Bridgeport here. I absolutely love this format. I love anything that involves passing points like this. We need more of it. I need more passing point formats. That's just me personally, but I love the format that they did here. You had inverts; these guys could pass. You guys they're scoring points every time they go out on the track, so it was pretty interesting. Anything else from here that we want to?
No, sir.
Nope.
I'm glad you had fun.
I had a blast. Real quick, looking at World Finals. World Finals start on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And Saturday? Or is it just Friday?
I think it's Saturday too. It's a 4-day show.
It's a 4-day show, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Finals are definitely Saturday.
David Gravel has a 74 point lead over Carson Macedo going into these final races there. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if David, unless he has like
he would need something very
as good as well as Carson Macedo has been running. He actually has more top fives than David Gravel now at this point in the season. 45 to Gravel's 41.
The only thing that's going to stop him is if he signs with High Limit now and retires from Outlaws now instead of next week.
He's going to more or less have to be in the feature, which they use provisional, so he will be. It's a wrap. I unless I'm missing something, it's a wrap.
Yep. So it should be interesting. I think the only thing I'm sure it's good for the people that go to these races because you're getting your bang for your buck, but you're starting at like 2 p.m. and you have like 800 cars between the modifieds, the late models, and sprint cars, which is cool because I mean, like, hey, it's the end of the season. It's a nice big last hurrah, but I expect to see 50, 60 in each division, to be honest. I mean, probably the least will probably be the 410s. But I don't see any less than 50 cars for each one of these divisions. It's gonna be interesting. So definitely something to watch. Be a lot on Dirt Vision if you're not going down. We'll have some of our guys. Obviously, Justin's going down in the 23. I'm pretty sure there's some others from around here going down, I would imagine. I don't know. I don't really know any of other confirmed. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe it won't really be 50. I don't know.
I really just hope Justin looks at the video of the 23 car last year and doesn't do that.
Yeah, don't do a repeat of that.
Yeah, we don't need that, Justin.
So basically, David Gravel just got to go do what he's got to do, and he can wrap up this title. Carson Macedo's going to give it everything he's got. He's been coming here.
Hell of a run, hell of a charge, I should say.
Yeah. He's been incredible.
He kind of just did the David Gravel from the last couple of years, and David Gravel did the Brad Sweet.
It really is. Yeah. Basically, Macedo since Knoxville has just been absolutely lights out. So yeah, going from World Finals right before the later this evening, or earlier this evening, I should say, High Limit came out with their schedule for next year for the 2025 season. There's some big shakeups, including Bridgeport will get a High Limit race, as well as the biggest one that everybody is just so hyped for is Path Valley is getting a High Limit race. Which I know people have been dying to get sprint cars there, but especially a big time sprint car show for the past few years now. They get 358s, they'll get all that, but really getting a big time 410 race. It's going to be interesting. It'll be a weekend. It's the weekend right before National Open, I would imagine.
Yep. Yes.
Based on will be Bridgeport and Path Valley right after Four Crown, the weekend right after Four Crown. So hopefully everything goes there. Actually, they're in pretty much from Tusky, then they go to Lernerville, just like they did this year, and then they go to Eldora, and then they come back here to go to Bridgeport and Path Valley right before National Open. So I think that's a great move for them. Something that's different, and I think it's a smart move, to be honest. They're not starting down south this year, and they're not starting. They don't usually. They usually do start in February, right? They usually start right around. They used to go to East Bay. Well, they used to go to East Bay. Now that's no more.
Right, and they're sure as hell not going to get a race at Volusia. So
yeah, so their season starts now at the dirt track at Las Vegas during NASCAR weekend. March 13th and 15th. They won't race Friday because I'm pretty sure trucks run that Friday night. So to try to keep, people coming, they start there that weekend, and then they go out to California, an early West Coast swing. Now they're going to be doing two because they still have their original West Coast swing. This is something that I know teams with the World of Outlaws didn't like before because they used to try to do this, go out. They would always just get rained out. But I think, one, they're going out to like Arizona, New Mexico, those places. I don't think you really got to worry about right now, but you never know, knock on wood. But I like this. They do a good job from what I'm looking at here. They really condensed the schedule where, all right, you're out there for 3 weeks, and then they're off until the end of April. So basically they race through March, first weekend of April, they're out west, then they don't go back out till April 30th. So you got a couple weeks in between there, come home, regroup, you go back out to Arkansas, Texas, and you kind of work from your Midwest back to PA, and the Midwest. And they have breaks in between there. They have openings for Kings Royal, Knoxville, the same deal. But when we had Brent on here, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about their, it's a series run by racers. They seem to be listening. And what do we think? Do we think this schedule here reflects that?
For sure. My only complaint is I realize my birthday is on a Tuesday, and that makes me angry. But otherwise, I think the schedule's fine. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting tracks, and you kind of see them staying in a region for extended period of time. I think the Path Valley show is something they almost they slid a World Racing Group there because the late models were there this year, right? So they almost just kind of cut in there to make a statement because obviously we know this region has the most cars, most fans, more often than not. So, it's interesting. I'm just mad my birthday's on a Tuesday. That's dumb.
Real quick, Tyler Koenig says, "What's up, boys? Tooted from Millbridge. We're at intermission. Kyle Butch just won the wingless 360 or wingless 60, or 600 B main. What's going on, Tyler? Good to see you having fun down there.
Good to see Kyle Busch won.
By the way.
Yeah, Kyle Busch actually won something.
Holy shit! It took a 600 wingless B main against kids. All right. Anyway, not all kids. I'm joking, mostly.
Seriously.
What's interesting here to me is I reached out to someone, and this whole West Coast early. First of all, they had obviously Florida wasn't an option, right? From Volusia, East Bay, the Vegas thing, it makes sense. And they had suggestions from Knoxville of this year about this West Coast swing being a real thing in the schedule. That has been worked on since the middle of this season. And that was from input from the drivers saying our best chance to get races in might be the West Coast. Because everywhere we've gone, not we, but the Outlaws, High Limit, doesn't matter. Everybody gets rained out all damn spring. And then they sit around for 6 weeks and don't race anything. There's a huge gap. So them starting later and continuing their swing up into the West Coast, they feel like gave them their best chance to get racing in without a huge break, waiting for weather or travel or whatever. Just start out there, stay out there, and then work your way back. It felt like it gave them the best chance to race. So we'll see. The weather is the only thing that we can't control. One of the many things we can't control, but that's the biggest one when it comes to springtime racing. We live it here. You see it in Texas. You've seen it in Georgia. We've seen it everywhere. I mean, Arizona is not immune from springtime
No,
weather.
but I mean, if there is a spot that you're gonna go, the desert.
West
I mean,
Coast.
like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why NASCAR goes to these places too early in the season, is because they're usually the places that. It's one reason why I think they don't go to Sonoma early in the year, because it's the rainy season there. But in some of these areas where it's more deserty, you know, they have a little bit of a better shot, like you're saying, to get these in.
Yep, no doubt. I'm excited for it. I'll be tuned in like I was this year and see how it's all going to go. I think this is the foundation, and then you're going to start seeing driver commitments soon because I think some of them may have been waiting for this kind of thing, right? So you're
Yeah.
going to start seeing this coming pretty quickly, in my opinion, on commitments to series. That's the next domino to fall here. Some of the cars have been worked out, and teams are for the most part kind of there. I don't think we're done with that completely, but this is the first step into now team commitments, in my opinion.
Something interesting. There are 11 midweek, the midweeks money series will come back. There are 11 dates for that. I thought that's interesting. I think it's a good idea to have, but I thought maybe they would cut down a little bit on the midweek stuff. But I think they do a good job of condensing their schedule where they are racing a lot for like 2-3 weeks, and they give themselves a little bit of an option. Like, you can go home, you can go run with the Outlaws, you could go do whatever. You know what I mean? They give themselves some breaks here, while still having a very nice condensed schedule and running a lot of races and making those miles count. I think it's they're taking some swings on some things here.
You know what I see? See this June 28th to July 11th break?
Mm-hmm. That's
PA
Ohio Speed Week. Ohio Speed Week too.
Well, isn't ours like usually it goes over?
Or no, Ohio Speed. I'm sorry, Ohio Speed Week's in the middle of June. They have that off as well, from the 10th to the 25th. And then yes, you're right, PA Speed Week.
There's a gap there, and they're in Missouri to Kentucky. From that gap, they're not out stuck on the West Coast during this, so we may have some PA Speed Week, some high limit guys if they want to continue to race. Now, the other thing I heard from, what was it? Brad Sweet did a deep dive with Jeremy Elliott, and they talked about some news coming about Ohio Speed Week. To keep tuned in, somehow involvement there, All Star, High Limit. Last year was what, Maverick, kind of a combo, I want to say, right?
It was,
Wasn't it?
yeah, it was who the hell ran it? Yeah, it was not Maverick. It was
the other one.
Yeah, something else out there.
Fast. Wasn't the Fast series?
Yeah, that, and in conjunction with like High Limit, I think they kind of helped.
There's something. So there's going to be some news coming about Ohio Speed Week, I think, coming up. I don't know if you get to PRI or whatever the situation there, but Brad Sweet got into it. If you haven't seen Jeremy Elliott's deep dive with Brad Sweet, good conversation there. Kind of hinted towards some involvement of something coming. So, but yeah, I like this break for them again over Ohio and PA Speed Week. So maybe we'll get some other guys in again this year, and then they have a break. You know, we get done PA Speed Week the 6th, 7th. Then they have 3-4 days to get to Kentucky. So
yeah,
maybe that's a lot of racing, but these guys are. You look at Jacob Allen this year running 90 races or something. This ended up being so some crazy numbers, and he's not done yet. So the racing's out there if they want it.
Two things that I don't see. Obviously, there's this TBD here for Friday, August 15th in California. I have a feeling that's for Calistoga, because they're getting that place, trying to get that cleaned up, but there's nothing really in line there. So I wonder if they're trying to keep a date open for that. That'll be interesting to see, but they do have something scheduled here, just they can't announce it yet. And then something that we talked about on here that Dirt Tracker talked about was Huset's, and that is not here. Shouldn't be the biggest surprise. But if you're on social media at all recently and you're looking at any of Diva Gravel stuff, you're saying, what's going on? Because he just posted a picture today of him and Brad Sweet, 2K25, and then High Limit then comes right back and posts a picture of David Gravel winning the High Limit race at Eldora. That could be a huge switch if that commitment happens. Of Gravel going there, or maybe they're just trying to troll everybody. I don't know.
Listen, they'll at least give Macedo a shot to win a championship.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
At least Brad had to leave, so Gravel had a chance, right? So
That's right. It just
pay
passed
it
the
forward.
torch.
Pay it forward.
Eventually, in like a decade, Brock could win a championship.
Oof. Jimmy's not going to recover from that.
I mean, hey,
Jimmy likes Brock. I'm not taking a shot at Brock. I'm picking on Jimmy. Relax.
But he's right.
I can't disagree. I mean, shit. I mean, but yeah, I think this is a very well put together schedule. They finish here in Texas again. They do 2 stints at Texas Motor Speedway. They go to Lucas Oil again. But yeah, obviously for us, the biggest news is Path Valley. So that should be interesting. And Base says David Gravel to the Crouch 11 car. That would be.
I mean, why can't it be the same car and run High Limit? Does the car have to change?
I don't know.
Is
Well,
that-
the thing
track
is
didn't change, so maybe the car had to.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, that's why I'm surprised to not see it here. Like, I'm not surprised, but like that was kind of like a big thing to me. I'm like, oh well, then things stay the same. But then Gravel and High Limit started playing this game on social media today, and they could just be trolling, getting people riled up. But I feel like there's some traction to this where Gravel does go High Limit next year. It should be huge for this series.
I can imagine Gravel will be in a social media post battle with another series that he's not attached to. Like, why would he do that? And
Right.
Post a picture of him and Brad Sweet. Why would he do that to try to get hype going? If he's an outlaw guy, you know.
And listen, looking at him here, he's finally going to get that World of Outlaw Championship unless something goddamn catastrophic happens. But the thing with him is always going to be, well, that's because Brad Sweet left the tour. So maybe he wants to go beat Brad now straight up in High Limit. You know, it would still be, hey, I won a World of Outlaw title, and then, you know, maybe he goes out and, you know, I'm just saying, I don't know if he thinks along those lines, but it could be something.
What if he ends up a teammate with Brad Sweet?
Ooh.
In the 94. Okay. Go ahead.
The 94.
It would be the 89, I think. If he was going to go,
89,
he'd be the 89. That would make more sense than the 94.
Why? 49, 94?
But Gravel's number was 89 in the family car. Like, that would make more sense.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Just going to keep throwing out.
I think David Gravel's racing for a NASCAR championship in Phoenix next week.
I can think of any of these that could make some sense in some way, right? Like, I'll just keep this shit going.
Get to a couple comments here. Mandy said, "Oh God."
Or he's gonna drive the 19 on the High Limit, and Brent's gonna race locally next year. Okay, in the 19, but Gravel's gonna drive that car next year on High Limit because it has a charter. To keep that going, you know. See, I could do this all day.
I heard Logan Wagner's going to Junior Motorsports.
All right. Mandy says, one day I'll make it to Bridgeport, maybe next year. I highly recommend it. Try to get there. Place is pretty badass. Amanda says you guys need to go to Charlotte sometimes. It's awesome. I would like to get down there at some point. Just kind of, man, I don't know if I could sit through like 100 modifieds and 100 late models too.
You love day racing, so
you can nap.
I do love day racing though.
I love day naps. Like, I'll nap during the day. It's like a little vacation. I can sleep through them.
But It would be cool. I mean, you would definitely. It seems like it's a nice. It's a huge event. And it's a nice way to cap the season off. Brad says, I think California races in March are just risky. Yeah, I mean that's. I think. I think one thing they only scheduled 3 of them here. You know what I mean? And they're all Wednesday to that Saturday. They're all right next to each other. So you damn well know that Saturday at Vegas, if it's looking like it's going to be shitty rain that whole week, they're just going to cancel it. You know, they're not going to fuck around early in the season. And I think that's one thing that High Limit does very well. I mean, not just High Limit. I mean, these other series and tracks are catching on as well, but specifically High Limit. I think if there's any shot there, especially considering they go back to California, later in the year, know.
Well, and listen, every race in March is risky. Like we were just saying, I don't know if there's a place immune from it. We've seen it over the years, but if they're gonna have a chance and they don't want to wait till May to race, this is their best chance they feel, right?
Yeah.
Weather-wise, we know in Pennsylvania we got lucky that year when the Outlaws rescheduled and came up here in March, but it could have snowed just as good as it could have rained or been sunny and 60. We don't freaking know. It's less predictable in a lot of areas of the country. In California, while it's either going to be sunny or it's going to be rain, it's one or the other. Not you don't have to worry about temperature as much in most of these places. Here, it could have been rain, snow, sleet, tornadoes. I mean, they got lucky that year. They got most of those in, I think, all but one. But that's too risky, even more on the East Coast. So this is their best chance. But yeah, Aunt Bay, Jay-Z to the High Limit, but it's the OOZ. It's going to be the ooze.
The ooze.
Just what your fucking ankle's doing.
Maybe, I don't know. It might be.
Brad also says 8:15 could be for Kings and Hanford. So I mean, obviously they have some. It's TBD there for a reason. They're obviously working something out. And then he also asked us, what are the tracks that y'all would want to go to? I'm still on. I mean, there's a lot of tracks I still need to get to. I need to get out of PA more. I'd like to get Eldora, Knoxville. Obviously, those big ones feel like they have to be ones that need to be hit. I still really want to get to Attica. That's still one that's always just on my mind that I really would like to get to. Also, Sharon, I like to get out to Lernerville. I think those are ones I'm going to try for next year.
Yeah, I agree with your list, and we're huge fans of the sport, but I haven't traveled a lot for it either, as I've got to kids and life and family. Not that that's an excuse, but it just hasn't worked out. But yeah, all the ones, Attica, absolutely bucket list for me. Jacksonville, Illinois. Jacksonville looks badass. I'd like to see Kokomo, some of those Indiana tracks. Further west of the Mississippi, there's none that really go, man, I got to do that. Knoxville for sure. But I know Brad, and Brad's on the West Coast. There are some West Coast. If I was on the West Coast, I'd want to experience some of those like scenic, tracks, Skagit, and why would I guess I would have to go to
Skagit's a good one.
Houston's to experience it, but it doesn't do much for me but I'd say I went there. There's a few places out there on the West Coast, but I'd have to really be there and be like, hey, I'm going to the West Coast and I'll go pick up a race.
Yeah.
But for me, the ones close to home, really, that shouldn't be bucket list, but they are. Attica, Sharon would be a cool experience. Jacksonville, and I would love, it's not wing, but I would love to go to Indiana Sprint Week and just do the whole Indiana Sprint Week and check all those freaking bull rings and places out and just experience that whole deal that whole week would be awesome. That's
Chris?
Low hanging fruit. I mean, Knoxville and Eldora. I haven't been either one of those yet for Kings Royal. I know, Jimmy, you were supposed to go there, and somehow you found your way not to get to Eldora this year. But Eldora and Knoxville would be mine. Top 2 for sure. I mean, Lernerville, of course, but like that's one that I'd probably do multiple times a year if I liked it. Like, because it's only, I think, 4.5 hours. That's no big deal. And a lot of how tracks sharing in that right event, sure. But top 2, definitely Knoxville, Eldora. And I don't know. I don't travel a lot at all. My first plane ride was like 2 months ago. Give me a break, boys.
Another one too. That's true. Another one that I think would be cool that I always said it would be Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg's pretty crazy, but Bridgeport's obviously not the same, but very much. I guess it's molded after it to an extent. So I guess I kind of get that scratch that.
It's not the hours to Jersey; it's the Jersey part.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
like.
it's not about the distance. I know you're all about the size. It's not about the size, it's about the quality. And driving to New Jersey is awful.
Hell
Awful.
on earth.
Terrible.
Hard
I
pass.
do gotta give Aunt Bay a little bit of hell because so my weekend was go to Bridgeport, hung out, and then we went out to dinner with Jim and his wife and Paul and then me and my girlfriend Kim, we went and stayed over in Chester. On the other side of the bridge of PA because we were going to the Eagles. We went to the Eagles game yesterday, so we had a whole weekend down there basically. And everybody's like, "Man, Chester's the ghetto, man. It's dude. It didn't feel ghetto where we were at least, but it was eerily dead. Like I did not see any cars. I did not see any people. It was so weird. We went to it's right next to a Harris Casino. We went there Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, which I didn't expect a lot of people to be in there, but we were like the only people in this whole damn casino. So not as much ghetto as it was like it felt like the zombie town. It was just like there's nobody around Saturday night, Sunday morning. Yeah, the casino is right next to a prison. It's literally like right next door, and but like it was just wild. Like it was. I've been there before. I went to the Philadelphia Union Station Stadium there, and I've been in Chester before, but never stayed there like that. And I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't like scared for my life or anything. So like I recommend it still. It's just weird because like there was like actually like nobody. So but yeah, I had a great time this weekend. Too cold for them to be outside. It wasn't that bad. I don't think it was that bad. But yeah, I had a great time. Go Birds. Go Bridgeport. Let me get this.
We done? Cut it?
Yes. Drink it, dump it.
Oh.
Real quick. Drink it, dump it. You guys know the game. Drink it to somebody you want to give a shout out to. Dump it to something or someone that had a bad weekend.
Got it.
Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first because you guys have gone first for like the last 6 weeks.
Okay. You finally gave us a chance to talk. Fuck. Go ahead.
All right, go then, because you're not prepared anyway. I want to hear your insight.
No, you go. You go first. You go first, handicap. Let's go.
Man, Chris has been waiting for this moment to be able to have something to bust your balls about.
Yeah, it's taking 2 years. All right, listen, listen. Somebody, I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit with Justin. A hell of a way to cap off this run he's had, and again, biggest win of his career money wise. I'm sure feels great about it, and his smile in victory lane kind of said it all for me. And kudos and congrats to him again. And dump it for me is something a little bit off topic, and we don't talk about it much on here, but it's NASCAR's playoff system. It's an absolute joke and a travesty, and it's a clown show of what these guys are forced to do. It's not their fault. This is what they're forced to do. The shenanigans and shit show that happened yesterday. And I feel bad for anybody who tuned into that for their first time and didn't have a clue what the hell was happening and why they were all standing around, and nobody knew, including the announcers, why they're standing around, not interviewing anyone, and also having cameras on people who didn't win the race. And while Ryan Blaney is doing everything to celebrate a win, and it took away from it, as it always does, it's an absolute shit show, WWE fake, fabricated bullshit that they've created because they have a shit product and a shit race car, and they're trying to manufacture shit to happen, and they got it.
Up figure.
It's stupid, and that's all I got. And I'm not even a fan of anybody who won or lost in that deal. I don't even have a favorite driver anymore. So maybe it's easy for me to not look at it with whatever glasses on and blinders. It was a joke. It's a freaking joke. That's it.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Well done, Brent. Well done. Comment of the day.
Holy shit.
We've got some good comments today.
Yeah, we did. This has been great. Go ahead, Chris.
My drinking is honestly for Jeremy surviving the surgery. I'm glad you're here, buddy. I'm glad it's going well.
I woke up.
That was the fear that I had driving to work that day. I don't know what your fears were. Mine were we didn't get to say goodbye and you were gonna die. So I'm glad you're not dead.
You never know. I woke up. That was good.
Yep. Yeah. Because like the day before, I saw that article about that coach and shit. And I'm like, nope. But I'm glad you're alive and well, and hopefully it heals soon. And I will drive you to Baths if you need your happy ass slung in a car. Like, I don't start me
You
with a good
guys,
time.
anybody who would offer to take me has to convince my wife that I can go,
She
because
can come too.
she's my guardian and not letting me do things, and to my own benefit. For my own benefit,
Yeah, for your own good.
It is for my own good because I'm real
Then
stupid.
I'm
So
not your guy. Then we need Kim involved in this because she's saying no to me as soon as I ask. Like, you'll come back with another cast on your other leg. Dump it. I don't know. I don't really have one this week.
Everything's great.
Everything's great. Happy to be here.
how about the big pile
I do
of
agree with the fucking garbage NASCAR playoff thing, but Jeremy said it so
Sir,
well.
this is a
I'm glad-
Wendy's.
Yeah,
This is a Wendy's.
and shitty for being a Wendy's. So that's my dump it.
Jay-Z said the pile up. I think that's a good one. That kind of took the wings out of the sails a little bit on that feature, but not that much. My drink it is I have a couple. Dason Persley, I know I brought up before, but man, was he impressive. Shout out to him. He's going to be a problem. Drink it to Bridgeport and Danny Dietrich specifically too for promoting such a great event and doing a fantastic job. And drink it to all the fans that came out. You know, I mean, obviously you had people that were locally there, but man, there were a lot of Central PA fans that made the trip on a nice Saturday, and we were done by all the features were done by like 7:45. Like it was 8:00. We were all getting out of there. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't bad at all. Like and so I mean, if you do live 2.5 hours away, you're still getting home 10:30, or you want to go out and do other stuff.
Listen, you can say all you want, but all those fans were there for Dirk Rimrod and Modifieds.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to see Dirk Rimrod. I didn't, at least not on Saturday.
That's
no.
my fucking dump it.
He was there on Friday, but I did not see him on Saturday.
He is the show. All
yeah.
Right.
Drink it also to Go Birds. Dump it to Kyle Spence's bad luck. Nick Sirianni for being a dumbass, being one of the worst coaches in all the NFL, and somehow continues to get fucking bailed out by all the talent on his team. That is absurd. And if you had a competent coach, this team would be undefeated and be the Super Bowl favorite right now. But no, we have a dumbass coach that does not know how to do math and just doesn't know what he's doing.
Sir, this is a racing podcast.
Yes. So, well, listen, you guys went after NASCAR. I had to go after this. That I've gone to a lot of Eagles games, and the past 2 times I went to the Atlanta game, and I've had great times at all of them. It's nothing against that. It's just, man, I'm so sick of being disappointed after fucking wins. All right.
I being Jeremy and we were trying to cheer each other up after we're going to
That's my dump it.
Watching 2 shitbag teams try to lose a football game, and you're crying about winning.
Yeah. We win too much. Meanwhile, I'm a Titans fan. He's a Patriots fan.
Listen, when you're up 22-0 to the Jags, and you let them back in, and Trevor Lawrence had a touchdown there to win, and he threw it to the wrong guy. I don't know. I don't know.
Never. Jeremy and I are crying because we're like, our teams both suck and neither one wants to win. Like, what is happening?
But go Birds! We had a great time there. It was good. It was good. Oh, I got to do a drink at the LaShawn McCoy. He was my favorite football player. Got inducted in the Hall of Fame yesterday. That was awesome. Definitely were crying. So that was cool. Matthew Bird says, "Hey boys, I need a pink T2T decal for next year. We'll make sure we get one to you." Aunt Bay says, "Drink it to Real Crew Chiefs. Dump it to Jay-Z for not being at Bridgeport to take pictures." Brad Weatherby says, "Drink it to y'all." Justin Whittall, I can't thank enough. Dump it. Thank you enough. Dump it to the end of racing season here in PA. We have one more. Then Matt also says, "Drink at the Path Valley on the high limit schedule next year. Dump it to It's Only This Weekend and Final Showdown at BAPS for the final 410 races." That is sad. Drink it. Jersey natives at Bridgeport, especially Whittle winning and all the posse guys going out there and having good runs. Macri coming from the B, 23rd to 5th. Path Valley and Bridgeport high limit dates. Dump it. End of the racing season. The start at Bridgeport. Whatever happened with NASCAR and whatever else was going on.
Whatever. Thank you, Mandy.
Brent says, drink it to Danny and Doug for putting on a great event and dump it to torn up race cars on Saturday. Brad says, drink it to being able to watch y'all from work. Thank you for checking us out, and dump it to being at work.
Fair.
Yeah, very fair. Michael says, drink it to high limit for expanding out to different tracks. 100%. I think that's it. I think that's everybody else. Michael says, preach on. Nick is trash. Thank you, sir, for agreeing with me. Aunt Bay even said, Syria got bailed at by Trevor Lawrence being trash. And yes, I would like fries with that. I would like some cheese with my wine. Get off my back. For us, it is also getting towards the end of the season here for us. We'll probably have one more show, if maybe two. Keep an eye out. This week, we'll put it on our socials. It'll be our annual. It's going to be our annual. We did it. We did it last year. It was great. The report card show. So we'll put out a Google form that everybody could fill out, and it'll be a bunch of drivers, and you give them a report card grade from F to A+. How'd you think their season went? And there'll be an honorable mention in there because we can't do all 100 drivers and then all the late model drivers and stuff like that. So we'll give you guys a bunch to do between High Limit, World of Outlaws, and Posse. And then you guys will have a chance to shout out some people, and we'll read them on our big year-end report card blowout. We're either going to do that we'll either do that show next week or the week after. We're not unsure yet, but probably only one or two more shows. Go ahead.
I jumped on YouTube here real quick, and I see a comment here about shouting out Maddox. Maddox, I don't know you. Hopefully, fans of the show, maybe Dad is. That looks like Maddox maybe in the picture. So
yeah, shout out Maddox.
Hey, shout out Maddox. Thanks for hopefully not tuning in and getting ruined by our terrible takes and bad language. But also, there was a comment earlier in YouTube, and I saw it, and I thought about it, and I missed it. Someone mentioned, Alan actually mentioned, our 24 starters going to be able to fit on Path Valley, and they've had 410 races in the past, and they're phenomenal. They're jet fighters in a gymnasium. It is awesome. They absolutely fit. Barely. It will be a show. So tune in, be there, do something, be a part of it.
He's running 24. We both know they're getting all provisionals. It's gonna be 28, baby.
Could be. Oh, can you imagine? Start them all. Put them all out. It's like an enduro.
Can you do a real tire guy report card for Jim Terrelli?
That's your job, and that's a real
A+. He's A+.
It's Ant's job. We don't give him. It's Ant's job.
I'm going with an A+. So
you're not a real
basically for the report card show, each of us will give our report card, and then we'll take the average of the viewer report card, and we'll go over and we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them in the chat. We'll talk about our points of view, and then we'll go over the ones that you guys write in. I was thinking about maybe putting a spot for like tracks or series if you guys want to give a shout out for stuff like that, but I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole because I don't want it to turn into like just a shit fest, because I think a lot of credits and series actually deserve a lot more kudos this year than they do any negativity. I'm not just saying that. I really do. I think there's a lot of things to be positive about from this season. So yeah. So we'll be doing that. Keep an eye out. We'll put that out, fill it out. We had like 100 some responses. I feel like we could probably like triple that this year because we have a lot more people.
Give Jimmy a lot of work to do. Give Jimmy something to do, right?
Yeah, that would be a lot for me to go through.
That was a fun show last year. I'm looking forward to that one again.
Yeah, we had Brett Strickler on last year. That was fun. So,
not this year though. I don't like him.
So, guys, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. If you're listening the next day on the audio podcast, thank you guys for listening. Go ahead, JC.
I'm just wondering, maybe again, I like the idea we had Brett on last year for that. I wonder if who should we have on this year as part of that? If we're going to have someone on to do report card grades, again, maybe we can't get the person, but if we were to have someone on as a guest, host, speaker, whatever, and they do their own grades, who would we have? What would be some ideas?
I think
Send us a message. Send us a message. We have a Discord. We can put the Discord on our socials. Maybe we put a poll up there, take some ideas. However you all want to reach us with some ideas on having someone on as maybe a guest for that show. Maybe we won't have anyone, but send us some ideas.
I think Brett Strickler sounds like a guy that we should bring back.
We could. He might
Our
be
annual
hunting.
Brett Strickler talk.
That's true. We could.
Did he come on because you weren't here?
I was here.
Were you?
Probably because he didn't want to talk or something, you know.
Y'all get fucking Fs. Are we done here?
Yeah, we're done. Thanks.